So let's go with the teams we know, right? We know the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West, right? They're 10-4.
Yeah, they got that wrapped up.
They have there's really no way they're going to miss the playoffs there. They have a chance to get the 2 seed. It's looking like they're probably going to end up with the 3 seed. The Ravens,
which they still get to host.
They're gonna host a game for sure. The Ravens in the AFC North, they got that wrapped up. The only opportunity they have to miss or to not get the number 1 seed is to lose the next 2 games, and the Chiefs would have to win the next 2 games. Other than that, unless they fell, because they've beaten the Patriots head to head. Patriots are 1 game back. Yep. There's an outside chance again the Patriots would win the next 2 and the Ravens would lose the next 2. That's probably not going to happen. Ravens are almost certainly going to be that number 1 seed. Now I could see
the Chiefs getting above the Patriots though.
Yes,
for the 2 seed.
That is possible.
That's more likely.
There's an outside chance that happens. Again,
all that takes is a Pats loss, which could happen this week to the Bills, and the Chiefs winning out.
Well, then still the Bills would be ahead, and the Bills would end up getting that number 1 or get that number 2.
Do the Bills own the Chiefs?
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
Yeah, the Bills beat the Chiefs, I believe.
That's wacky.
Isn't that crazy?
Was it the one without Pat Mahomes? Maybe.
Oh, the Bills didn't play the Chiefs. I take that back.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's right. The Bills didn't play the Chiefs. Patriots played the Chiefs because they both were the number 1 seed last year. That makes sense. Okay. Either way, a lot of interesting stuff in the NFC. Obviously,
all the seeds are pretty much wrapped
seeds,
up. Well, not the seeds. The teams are wrapped up.
Yeah, we kind of know which teams are going to make the playoffs. We know the Saints are going to win the NFC South. The Packers and Vikings are going to make the playoffs. Who wins it's probably going to be the Packers that win the NFC North, but we're gonna get into that as well. NFC West. We know we're going to get the Seahawks and 49ers, and then we're going to get 1 team out of the NFC East, either the Cowboys or the Eagles. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going to go on there. Let's actually start there. Cowboys, Eagles, both 7-7.
Play each other this week.
This is a huge game because one team's they're. This is going to be
sadly one team has to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, this is going to be a situation where an 8-8 team is going to make it to the playoffs, and then there's going to be a 9-7 or a 10-7 team that misses. And it's going to be the Rams. The Rams are going to be looking over.
Rams are going to be 10-6, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, the Rams are going to be looking over at either the Eagles or the Cowboys. It's most likely going to be whoever wins this week. So let's say if the Eagles win this week, I think the Cowboys are going to win. I don't know, but let's just go through the outcomes. If the Eagles win this week, they go to 8-7. Cowboys go to 7-8, and then the Eagles need to win their Week 17 matchup against the Giants. What they should do, they should be able to beat the Giants again, and then they're in, right? Doesn't matter what happens to the Cowboys. Now, if they lost to the Giants and the Cowboys ended up winning their Week 17 matchup against the Redskins, which they probably will, the Cowboys would still end up winning because the Cowboys beat the Eagles earlier in the year, so the head-to-head would even out. And right now, the Cowboys they're the same record, and the Cowboys are ahead. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, if it's tied, the Cowboys are in. So the Eagles have to have 1 game over them. But it's all going to come down to the Eagles winning the next 2 games, or really whoever wins the next game wins. If the Cowboys win, they're pretty much in. It doesn't really matter what happens from that point. If the Eagles win, they still have to win Week 17, which they should.
I think the Cowboys have the best roster to make it happen for sure.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. There's no doubt the Cowboys have the talent. It's just,
we've been saying it all year, though. Yeah. They haven't pieced it together yet. Yeah. So at what point are they going to be able to?
I think we both agree. No matter what happens, Jason Garrett should lose his job. I don't care if the Cowboys go in and they somehow pull off a win in the first round, which they shouldn't. It shouldn't matter. Whoever wins,
he saves his job if they somehow win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, only way. Yeah.
The only
that's
way.
the only way.
And that is
that's
a
not
just
happening.
Long shot.
With Dak Prescott, the thing is with Dak Prescott having he does have a minor finger injury, so that could play a part. But the Eagles are decimated injuries. There's an issue with the Eagles medical staff. They need to do something there because it just feels like they have so many injuries all year. It's a constant issue. It feels like. But, at the end of the day, we're talking about whoever wins this gets to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much, they would end up getting...
The Cowboys have the best chance just because if they get to host a game.
Yeah, the sad part is one of these teams is going to host a game, and they're probably going to play either the Seahawks or the 49ers.
Yeah, so that's some jet lag for a major West Coast team having to go all the way over there.
So now we go to the NFC West, which is probably the most interesting because the Seahawks and 49ers are in a situation where one of them is going to have the number 1 seed, and one of them is going to have the number 5 seed.
It's going to happen.
That is, I mean, for lack of a better term, that's fucked up.
And I think that's why, in a bigger picture, the whole seeding argument. We can talk about it afterwards, I guess. But one's going to be the one seed with a first-round bye and home field advantage. The other is going to have away games.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. And that sucks for a team
And that could be a difference in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that sucks for a team like the 49ers, who right now they're technically at the number 5 seed. That's fluid. They play the Seahawks in Week 17. That's going to be a huge Week 17 game.
That's what it'll decide all this.
Now, they have to beat the Rams this week. They're coming off a loss to the Falcons. They need to beat the Rams. I mean, this loss to the Falcons last week really hurt them. I mean, it hurt me. It knocked me out of the fantasy playoffs. But even more importantly,
Julio, right?
Yeah, Julio Jones puts up 37 points, and I was playing against him in both of my leagues, playoff leagues. But that's a whole other thing. 49ers, they're in a situation where they need to win out, and they're 11-3, and they need to win out. And I don't think we can't name 3 better teams this year.
No,
we can't. And Seahawks have been playing great.
It just makes it that much harder though if they're a 5 seed and have to go on the road to the 3 seed. I guess would be the Packers right there. So they would have to go to Lambeau, win that, then go to Seattle, and that's grueling.
It is grueling. Now the Seahawks play the Cardinals this week, and then of course they play the 49ers Week 17. It is tough. It's a tough schedule. It really is. Both teams. So if they end up tying at the end of the day, with the 49ers beating the Seahawks and somehow there's still a tie, the 49ers are still in. They would get that 1 seed over the Seahawks because the Seahawks ended up beating them earlier in the season. I believe that's right? They beat the 49ers.
Oh, Seahawks and Niners?
Yeah, Seahawks and Niners. I mean, they played...
Yeah,
exactly. I was going to say, I'm 90% sure they won in overtime. I remember that game. So assuming the 49ers beat the Seahawks, they would get that number 1 seed. But that's huge. Seahawks win. It doesn't really matter what happens in Week 16. If the Seahawks win that game, they have that 1 seed. So it's going to be a huge Week 17 matchup. And it'll really change the outcome of the playoffs. I really believe that because I think it's a whole nother thing. The Seahawks, they want to play close. The Seahawks could get into a situation where they're playing a close game with the Cowboys. Let's say the Cowboys. I think it's going to be the Cowboys. It could be the Eagles. But the Seahawks can get in a situation where they're playing a close game in Dallas and lose. I don't think that happens with 49ers. And I don't know.
No, Seahawks always play. Yeah, they'll play teams close like that. I think the 49ers are the better team. You have Russell Wilson. You have that factor going for it as a whole and coaching and all that. 49ers are way better. That defense is stout. Yeah. Seahawks are good. I think both teams have legitimate Super Bowl chances. One of them will be ruined with that 5 seed, though.
Yeah. Now, do you believe that? Do you think that if the 49ers are in the 5 seed, let's play it out.
I think whatever 5 seed will win their first game and that having to go on the road and not against that 1 or 2 seed.
They could end up, they could, if the 5 seed would theoretically play the 2 seed, which
whoever
would be
it is
the
going to have to play, they're going to have to play the Cowboys Week 1, 4. So I think the Niners easily take care of the Cowboys. Like you said, Seahawks could struggle with that. We've seen that matchup actually a lot in the past few years with when the Cowboys make it. It's the Seahawks.
So that's interesting. Then we go to the NFC North, and that's a big game this week. And I know you have your personal bias
I know.
Here, so I'm gonna take the lead on this. Obviously, the Packers are in the lead. They're up by 1 game over the Vikings. Vikings are 10-4, and they're looking at the 6th seed. That is horrible, absolutely ridiculous.
So no, we could win out and be 12-4.
Yeah. And it is unfortunate because the Vikings could beat the Packers this week. That would put them in a tie schedule or tie record wise, which I actually do believe. I think the Vikings can beat the Packers on Monday night.
They haven't beat us yet in our new stadium.
Now Dalvin Cook being out, Alexander Madison being out, that could be a huge factor. But we'll see. If the Vikings win this week, that puts the Vikings at 11-4 and these Packers at 11-4. Packers still have would still be in that 2 seed or would still have the division
because that'd be their only division loss
because of a division win. The Packers haven't lost in the division yet. And then unfortunately for the Vikings, they play the Lions Week 17, and the Lions, they've won 3 games all year.
Yeah, the Packers do, and we play the Bears again, who we dropped the first game to.
So it's looking like it's not going to matter. Like as much as this game could have an impact, and there are ways that it could happen. If the Packers lose their next 2 games and the Vikings win their next 2, they get the division. It's probably not going to matter. Even if the Vikings win and then the Packers win Week 17 and the Vikings win Week 17, the Packers still have that number 2 seed.
Yep.
So that's where it's looking. It's
having to go through Lambeau is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a situation where a 10-4 Vikings are going to be on the road against probably the Saints in the NFC South.
I don't want that.
No.
The Saints want that. They want us to come down from that Minneapolis Miracle. Yeah,
that is fine. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. It'll be a great game. It'll be a fun game to watch. The history of it is incredibly exciting, I would say. I mean, I'm sure you remember where you were when that happened. Well,
which one? You could go from Bounty Gate, where they were beating up on Favre. You could go
about that one.
The Minneapolis Miracle. Yeah, there's been a few.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games there. So that's pretty much the NFC North. I think we covered everything, right? Mm-hmm. It's looking like, I think if we had to guess, it's going to be the 49ers in the 1 seed. So we haven't talked about the 2 seed. That's the only thing we haven't talked about. The Packers, if that situation happened where the Packers end up, we're saying 11-4. 11-5.
Yes.
No, 12.
Losing this week to the Vikings and then winning, beating the Lions.
They would be 12-4 total. The Saints can, if they win out, theoretically they play the Titans and the Panthers. If they win out, the Saints are probably going to get that 2 seed. I would think.
They should. Yeah.
They should. So the Saints are rooting for the Vikings this week.
It's so crazy to see how tight everyone is record-wise, and in the next 2 weeks, because the Titans play the Saints. We'll get to the AFC in just a second, and we'll talk about the Titans.
Yeah.
It's do or die time.
Yeah.
And then, so if the Titans somehow do, then the Saints drop to 11-4. That opens up.
They're definitely a 3 seed.
It could give the Packers the
And now if the Saints do go to 11-4 this week, they're probably going to sit everybody because they're kind of locked into that 3 seed. They're going to sit everybody against the Panthers because it doesn't matter at that point. And then they're technically still getting their bye. They're just getting a bye a week early.
It could all be real. I mean, all those teams vying for it right now could drop this week somehow because we've seen upsets happen. Falcons just beat the 49ers at their home. It could come down to some Week 17 matchups.
And there is an outside chance, a very, very small outside chance that the Vikings could get to 12-4. The Packers go down to 11-5 if they lose their next 2. And then the Saints would have to lose one of their next 2, I believe. And then
Vikings could vault themselves to the 2 seed. There's so much stuff.
We're talking about a situation where the probable 6th seed is a couple games out from the 2 seed,
and it just doesn't happen like that. No,
I haven't seen it like this in a while. I feel like it's one of the more interesting leagues where
as competitive it's ever been.
Yeah,
with the top teams.
Where we're going into Week 16, we pretty much know all the teams that are gonna be in, except for the NFC East winners. But there's so many different ways that it could play out.
So now let me bring up the argument for you then, since the NFC is where this is most relevant.
Yeah.
The seeding. Do you think the rule needs to be changed?
And we've talked off air about this. I feel like no. I really like the way there's rules and there's rules down to like you can go online and you can look up tiebreakers in the NFL playoffs and it goes down the line all the way down to all the way down to a coin flip.
Things.
To the point where it's like, the amount that you won by in like games. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like you played the Giants, you beat them by 20. We played the Giants, beat them by 17.
Yeah, exactly. So things like that, I like that. I mean, I think it'd be more fun for us if it wasn't like that, and we could have a lot more conversations like we do in college. We talk about all the different possibilities. I'm fine with the way it works out. Yes, it sucks this year for the Rams. The Rams are...
It feels like we're always in the situation, though, with the NFC East. We haven't had a strong one come out of the Cowboys since they did the Dez Drop-It thing.
I mean, yeah, but...
12-4.
Yeah, well, no, they were 12-4 when Dak was a rookie. Dak and Elliott.
I guess they had a good one then, but the Eagles were baller that year too, though.
So they were.
That countered that. Like
I do agree. There's definitely an argument to be made. I suppose. I think it does suck for teams like the Rams this year, where they're probably gonna have a better record than the NFC East team that goes to the playoffs. And we've already talked about it's gonna suck. The 5 seed is going to have a much better record than the 4 seed this year.
My compromise for all of it, because the only way, like some of the ways people are saying, is get rid of divisions. No, that's ridiculous. I like the way we have the divisions. I mean, you got to be the best of your 4 teams in your division, and you make it. That's fine. I think they could look at the seeding though. Some of the ways that this, like, you still have the divisions, get the auto bye. That's fine. But the Cowboys make it like crawling in at this 8-8.
You're saying the way you would have it is the NFC East winner gets the 6th seed.
Yes,
that's
to make it where they couldn't host the playoff.
So just base it on record, really.
Yeah. You have the winner of each division. It doesn't matter. Cowboys somehow make it at 7-9, just so to say. And I know they can't right now, but that they have anyone gets in at 7-9, yeah, you're in because you won your division. You should not be allowed to host a playoff game because of that, though.
Yeah, you didn't win more games than you lost.
Exactly. Well, just in any case, I think that it should go strictly based off a record after that.
I can see that, absolutely. And, this has definitely happened in the past. The Patriots missed the playoffs the year that they lost Tom Brady because the Dolphins won their division because, just dumb luck. Obviously, they lose to Tom Brady. It's a lost season anyway. But the Patriots were 10-6 that year.
That was the rise of Matt Castle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Matt Castle year. They were 10-6. They still had a good football team. They should have made the playoffs. They missed the playoffs because the Dolphins ended up being 11-5, and they couldn't get a wild card spot.
The counter to a lot of the seeding thing is we've gotten to see Eli's Giants do it twice, where they've made it. We've seen Beastquake, one of the most memorable plays ever happen with a 7-9 Seahawks team. Against the Saints.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. I'm fine with the way it is. I like.
I'm just going to be ticked off whenever the Vikings are 12-4, going for at the 6th seed, having to go play at Dallas, where we beat them. It was a close game, but a few plays go different. Our 6th seed is down the drain.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I see the argument, but I'm fine with the way it is. We'll move over to the AFC East.
It's a lot easier, a lot
easier. The biggest difference is there is a wild card spot up for grabs, and there's not in the NFC right now. Let's start there. All right. Well,
there's a wild card, a division race.
So where do you want to start here?
Go to the top. Make it easy with the AFC East.
So we're going to talk about the AFC East.
Yeah, Pats and Bills going at it this week.
Yeah, so Pats and Bills, that's another big game this week. Going to be super exciting. The Patriots are obviously already beat the Bills once, so the Bills need this game. The Bills are in a situation where they can get the division.
Yeah,
they can, which would be huge. The Bills could get the division and theoretically get the bye too. Kind of an interesting spot where we've never really seen this late in the season, where the Patriots are still fighting to win the division. They usually have it locked up by now.
And we've never seen the Bills fight for it in general.
Shit. So as far as the Patriots, obviously they play the Bills. They play the Dolphins week 17. That's not going to be an issue. The Patriots are gonna have at least 12 wins. If they have 13, that means they beat the Bills in week 16, and they probably get that week 1 bye.
I think the Patriots need it too.
The Patriots
Belichick,
do need it.
He needs that week to scheme.
Absolutely. Now it's the same kind of situation for the Bills. The Bills can win if the Bills beat the Patriots on Saturday in Foxborough, and then beat the Jets. They have the division.
Yeah, both Week 17 matchups, Jets and Dolphins. Huge, they're fine there.
Because the Bills, it goes down to, well, how would it go down? Because the Bills and Patriots have the same amount of division wins. They've in this scenario. Then it goes down to one loss percentage in common games, and that would be, well, they both lost to. Let me look at this. Let's talk for a second. Let me figure it out.
Am I crazy to think that the Bills traveling is better than the Patriots traveling? I think the Patriots would need to have the home field almost with so many struggles that they're going through right now. I think the Bills with their defense and the way that they're able to run the ball and play small ball, I think that travels a lot better.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I do. I think, this is the worst Patriots team we've seen in a while, and they're still probably going to get the 2 seed. It's crazy to think about, but I don't think
they've had an easy schedule though.
They have really had an easy schedule. Yeah, no, there's no argument. The Bills have too. If you go down it, the Bills have played. They got to play the Jets twice. They got to play the Dolphins twice. They got to play the Giants and the Redskins.
Got to play the Bengals.
The Bengals and the Browns. They actually lost to the Browns. That actually might be a big game for them. Coming down the line, they got to play the Broncos, the Cowboys. They've had an easy schedule, but the Patriots have too. They've played a lot of the same games. It's gonna come down to this week. This week could decide it all for the AFC East. The Bills
I
have
do
an
think the
outside
Patriots
chance.
will get it.
I do too. Yeah, in Foxborough, the Patriots are probably going to win this game.
Yeah,
they're probably going to get that 2 seed. We'll move on, assuming the Bills are going to get the 5 seed.
Bills
and
are in though. Yes.
Seed. Yeah, they're both in. They both have locked up their spot. AFC West, not as interesting. Chiefs are far and away the best team in that division. The next closest are the Raiders at 6-8. So
they died, didn't they? They had what were they 6-4?
Yeah, they had a shot at it.
Yeah.
They died out. It was really that Jets game. They lost to the Jets in New York, and then that was where it kind of fell apart.
They had a chance when they finally made it back to their stadium to play the Titans, and the Titans
this was a tough year for them. I feel like the way they played, it's as good as it was going to be for the Raiders. I would say the Chiefs are probably going to get the 3 seed, right? There is an outside chance again that the Chiefs could end up at that 2 seed. Most likely, they're going to have the 3 seed and get to play either the Titans or the Steelers, right? Or technically the Texans.
Yeah, there's so much weird stuff that could happen there.
Which we'll get into that. AFC North again. Ravens. They're the 1 seed.
Do you think anyone's stopping the Ravens?
I don't know.
Is that your Super Bowl?
Probably. I mean, they're one of those teams where they've been so good and they've been so electric, but it's not the way we're used to seeing it. We're used to seeing like electric teams or the high flying, exciting games. No, this team is a power running football team with a great defense, and they just happen to have an elite athlete at quarterback. I mean, and a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's just an athlete, but he is an elite athlete as well.
I say, watch what you say. They'll jump on you for that.
I'm not trying to. Don't at me.
Don't you say he's a running back?
Don't at me.
Watch out.
But I mean, y'all know how much I love Lamar Jackson. He's so much fun to watch. They've been rolling. It seems like they haven't slowed down at all. They lost a couple games early. That's the only reason they've lost 2 games. They lost a couple games early.
Yeah, it was before they really figured out
the Browns. Yeah, they lost one to the Browns, and they lost one to who else did they lose to? It doesn't matter. But they've been on a roll lately, and they've been destroying everybody. Their next 2 games are against the Browns and the Steelers. The only reason they would lose one of those games is if they sit, and they're probably going to sit against the Steelers.
See, and that's what will end up helping the Steelers and kill the Titans.
This is a big game. What the Titans need. So we'll move on for that because the Ravens are in a situation where they might be sitting Week 17 because it doesn't matter. The only reason it wouldn't matter, the only reason it would matter is if the Chiefs somehow win the next 2 games and the Ravens lose the next 2 games. It's the only way. That's the only way they lose that number 1 seed, which they want. They want the number 1 seed wrapped up because
it's home field.
Yeah, there's an outside chance the Patriots could do it, but the Ravens have the head-to-head matchup against the Patriots that the Chiefs. So their Ravens are kind of safe there. The Chiefs beat the Ravens earlier this year. That's the team I was thinking about. So what the Titans need to happen, and we'll get to that in a second. The Titans need for the Browns to beat the Ravens somehow this week.
The Titans' goal is to make Week 17 matter for the Ravens.
So if Week 17 matters for the Ravens, they beat the Steelers. Let's get into that next. The Titans and the Steelers are fighting for that. The Titans have an outside chance of getting the AFC South, but that's probably not going to happen after they lost this week. What they're really doing is fighting for that 6th seed with the Steelers. Now they're both 8-6 right now. It is the Steelers that are in. So if there is a tie at the end of the year, the Steelers have the tiebreaker, and they are in that 6th seed. What the Titans need to happen is they need to win out. They need to get to 10-6.
And the win out's not easy.
They need to beat the Saints this week and then beat the Texans in Week 17.
With both teams, the Saints, we already said that game matters a lot. The Texans, of course, that game's going to matter.
Yeah. Now the Texans game, it might not matter. There is a chance the Texans could be already set for that 4 seed. Where there's nothing really they can
Saints
do.
beat the Titans this week, and the Texans win. It's wrapped. Division is wrapped.
It is wrapped. So what would happen is if the Texans and Titans tie, the Texans still have the AFC South, and if the Texans are pretty much in the 4 seed no matter what, or let me rephrase that, the AFC South has the 4 seed no matter what. There's no way, there's no mathematical way that they can get ahead. Yeah, there really isn't a way they could.
Titans win the next 2. Texans, of course, playing the Titans would drop, and then the Titans would go in at 10-6.
Yeah,
and the Texans would be 9-7 out.
I mean, it's a lot of weird stuff that can happen. The Titans need to win out. They need to get to 10-6. That's the only way they can get in. They need the Steelers to lose the next 2. They play the Jets this week. The Steelers do. So it's probably going to be a win.
That's why I said it comes down to making Week 17 matter, because if the Ravens have a chance to even the 2 seed, I think they would play for a little bit, just because if the 1 seed is guaranteed home advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah,
they might play the Steelers for that.
Yeah, and I would argue that the Ravens can beat the Steelers with their backups. I would argue that. I think Robert Griffin can run that offense just as well. I mean, if you're sitting, you're going to sit most of your starters. You're probably going to sit.
If you sit those 12 Pro Bowlers that they had, though, that's a big portion difference. Of your team.
Yeah, but I mean, I still like their running game behind it. They still have a lot of good young backs that can run that power run game. The biggest loss would be they're probably going to sit Marquise Brown if the Ravens sat anybody, they'd probably sit Marquise Brown, who, I mean, that's their deep threat. That's a huge part of their offense. And then obviously defensively, they'd probably sit Judon and a lot of their other stars. It's going to be close, but I mean, the Steelers are playing Duck Hodges, so who knows?
I know we keep thinking the Duck's going to quack though. Yeah. I don't know. I think the Steelers have a real shot to get in. I think they're the favorite here.
Yeah, the Steelers are most likely getting in, and it sucks because I love the Titans this year. I really do. I feel like
I want to see them do it.
Yeah, and we're both in a situation where a lot of our friends are Titans fans. Neither of us are Titans fans, but we've lived in Tennessee most of your whole life, most of my life for me, and I have always passively rooted for the Titans until one of our mutual friends talks too much crap.
Vikings are in the NFC, I'm good. AFC.
Yeah, and for the AFC, the Titans and the Dolphins were always, at least my younger years, we were always fighting for one of those wild card spots. It seemed like so. I was always having to root against the Titans, even though I didn't really care too much.
Yeah.
And this is the first year where I'm like, man, I'm rooting for the Titans so hard, just because I love the way they're running. I love
they're the hottest team in football right now.
I really feel
it just sucks that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they are anymore because of the Texans lost, but yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So that's pretty much everything as far as division possibilities. Let's get into this because I think we would both agree Ravens are probably going to get out of the AFC. I don't see anybody beating them. We'll talk about it when the games come.
Yeah.
But I think
I think Belichick having to play him again would have a good shot.
I would agree with that. I just don't think the Patriots have enough offense to keep up.
No, that's true. I've seen some people on Twitter taking to the Patriots' defense saying that Bill maybe didn't show his full hand when it came to covering Lamar.
Maybe.
Sounds like a cheesy excuse for a loss. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you do that. I think if you have a way to stop him,
I don't ever want to play Belichick twice, though.
No,
that's for sure.
God, no. No, especially not in the playoffs. I mean, sure.
Yeah, if he has film on you and time to prepare,
it's
tough. On.
Yeah, that's tough. Out of the NFC, I think we both agree probably going to be some variation of either the 49ers. I don't think either of us are high on the Packers this year, no matter what happens. I think they'll
drop it early.
Yeah, I think their Packers are going to drop it early. I don't see the Vikings getting out of that division.
I have a love and a dream that we do. But
I mean, there definitely is. For the 6 teams that have a shot, I think the Vikings are there. They're in that conversation. I don't see it being the Vikings. I think it's probably either going to be the 49ers, Seahawks, or Saints, and that's your Super Bowl most likely.
Yeah.
One of those 3 teams out of the NFC, all of them, there's a great storyline for each one, I think, and then probably the Ravens. Probably.
I can see the Chiefs.
It could be the Chiefs.
Or the Patriots.
I mean, yeah,
or the Bills. It could be anyone.
Well, yeah,
come on, we can't.
I'm saying if you had to pick one, you have to pick one. You're probably picking the Ravens.
Saints, and I think it would be a killer game.
Yeah, and for me, it's probably Ravens 49ers.